Hi, she's Trixie, I'm Sarah, and this is our Yarn World, a place where we come to share with you our love for the yarn crafts and what it helps us through and provides for us, and the way that we can help with our craft to provide for others.
Yeah.
We have some fun things to share with you today and some fun finished projects to share with you today. So I invite you to grab something nice and warm to drink and let's get to it.
Yeah. Today it's cold out, so we're both drinking hot drinks. I've got my tea and you've got
Hot caramel macchiato.
the good stuff. So, yeah, there's still snow on the ground. It's still gray skies. Still here in Michigan, but it's not snowing out, so that's good. Temperatures are still cold. That's neither good nor bad, I guess, depending on who you are. I know that James, her husband, had trouble starting his car again this morning. Batteries are dying. Batteries are freezing up because of the weather, and it's not a good thing. But you know, we live here in Michigan, and that's what we're supposed to expect. So, did you want to start?
Yeah, I can start. So, as you guys know, I'm working on the Mario blanket, and I still have a lot of squares, and all they are is solid squares, solid color squares, granny squares. I'm doing a granny blanket in the a layout of Mario, a pixel Mario.
A pixelated Mario.
Yeah. Old Nintendo style.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited about it. And it's one block at a time. I get a block in when I can. This last week I have not felt very motivated, and it's not because of the way you would think. So I am motivated to get this blanket done. I really want to.
Yeah.
But some true story time here. You know, a couple of episodes back I was showing off those really almost
funky socks.
Kind of ostentatious socks, They had their own loud style, and I didn't mind that. I was making them for someone who had requested them and requested a couple pair afterward.
Yeah.
And the agreement, I guess what I had assumed in the agreement, I was going to complete one pair, and then we were going to go from there to see if this is what she wanted. She really liked it, and by the time we were able to meet, I was under the impression that she would have the money, and she didn't. But because the whole entire because the filled order was not completely filled, and how many of the projects were not fully done yet, I let her have those socks, thinking that, because she had told me that she was going to come back the next day, and I knew that that was the wrong thing to do. I knew that she was getting my work without me not receiving anything, and I really should have had some sort of incentive money down before even starting the project to know that she was committed to it.
Especially since you had to buy the yarn.
Right, I should have. I didn't, trusting her, and I see her regularly at my church, and I am not talking bad about her here, because the reality is she has addressed it with me. It is something that we are still working on. She has agreed to a price, and she would like to still have her full entire order.
Yeah.
So it's not like she hasn't communicated with me. But because because when she took the socks and she never came the following day, later on she explained to me why. I have grace for that, but at the time I was sitting there being like, I am not going to continue the order, to fulfill the order,
right,
that I'm not seeing any sort of promise in, and
no compensation.
Right, and this wasn't me trying to be bitter. This was me just trying to be wise with my time. I wasn't going to spend my time doing something that I wasn't seeing something roll over, and I had other things I had to complete at the time,
right,
like the Christmas presents and some of the other things that were going on at the time. And it was wise. She had no issue with that, but she addressed it with me saying, I still would like to complete the order. I know I still owe you for the socks that I have already received, and there are socks I still would like. She has already set a price to it, and so now I have to resume. Well, I'm not motivated, and I I'm motivated by its price, but I'm not motivated or inspired by this set order anymore, because it took so long to even get to this point. I mean, we're talking back in December. I mean, she ordered these by around Thanksgiving,
Right.
and now we're just now seeing.
We just passed Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and yes, it's still cold. She can get the benefit of the socks. That's not it. She's, a full-grown woman. The socks aren't going to change on her.
Right.
Not that. But I don't know. I guess I could have completed them and then had them already set aside, but I wasn't sure if the order was even going to be complete, and what's the point of using this yarn that I could actually use on something else if she wasn't going to. There were so many things going on in my head.
That's true.
I am trying to start making a profit. I've already explained that. That's part of what this Mario blanket is for. And I recognize that I have to stick to my integrity and to my commitments. I am going to start the socks. You probably will start seeing some show of socks being some of my finished objects or whips soon. It's just, they're knit. I'm kind of in the mood to still crochet, and so it's one of those, like, I guess this is to anyone that's watching, to anyone who either does multiple projects at one time that might have a deadline, or to have a certain set of, maybe you make things for a profit. How do you schedule your time on each project? I'm someone who wants to finish one thing at a time, and so now that I've started this blanket, it's very hard for me to set that project down when it's so vast. And it kind of can be very overwhelming just to think about it as a whole, to set it down thinking I really should be spending this little couple minutes of time on it, and as much time as I can spend on it so I can actually get it done, when there's something on the back burner that I really have to start actually focusing on, because I don't want it to burn. And I'm just like, okay, I'm trying to make sure that I don't burn the sauce and the pasta when I'm really working on this turkey. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this thing needs to get in the oven, but I can't spoil what I have already going and almost done.
Could you work on the socks, like, at a certain time of day, maybe before the kids wake up or whatever, and then work on your granny squares during their nap time or whatever? I mean, set aside those specific times?
It's something I've been thinking about. The problem is that, like I said, when I get into a project, I want to finish it from start to end. And so I think I'm going to have okay, I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my words here. I think what I'm going to do is probably so granny squares are easy to get done because I'm only doing 4 rows of the round and then being done. So it's all depending on what my kids are giving me time to be able to accomplish. So if I can tell that I have enough steady time to work on something as a little bit more detailed as a sock, I'll sit down and do that. If it's more like I'm cooking and I have a couple minutes on the timer, I can just whip a granny square out.
There you go.
So it's gonna be more of, my patience is more set on my availability. I make myself available to anything that I'm putting my priority to, and it's hard for me to set down something that I was really excited to do for something that I'm no longer excited to do but committed to do. And I guess that's really
and you're
me.
Getting paid to do.
And I guess for me, well, I'm getting paid for both of them.
Yeah.
It's just I'm more excited about the process and what the other thing is going to look like more than these socks.
I know.
Now, I guess this is just me having to address myself as an adult, just telling myself you're going to do it because you said you're going to do it. You're not, and they're expecting it, and you need to be good about your time because they're paying you good money. But I guess if any of you have ever gone through something like this, if you have any tips, I think from now on, anything that requires me to use either of my yarn or I have to buy, I think I'm going to have a material price set forth right there. I am not going to ask them to pay for my time when that's something that hasn't been completed yet. But if they're committed to what the project that they want me to fulfill, they have to pay for the materials first.
Yeah.
That way I already have the incentive. I know that they're committed and I'm not going to be wasting my time.
Yes.
I think that that's something I'm going to have to start doing. But with projects like this, where it's an idea that I am making to a completion and someone is just going to buy my finished project, not something that they have ordered me to do, I'm going to have more fun with it because I'm having more control over what I'm doing. I'm more inspired. I don't know. It's something that I have to work through. If you have any sort of tips, please feel free to put them in the comments.
Yeah, she's going to need all the help with that as she can.
I don't know. I know that probably sounds maybe like I'm a child here. It's struggling for me when I really need to be inspired to feel good about a project. It's same for me when I'm working out. When my kids are screaming because they want me to be doing something else than working out, it's not a good headspace.
Right.
I have to be in a good headspace when I'm working out. I just have to, because this is for me.
Yeah.
When I'm working out, it's for me. And when I'm hearing something like I'm not focusing on them and I'm interpreting that as I'm failing them when I'm trying to do something for myself, it turns sour in my throat to finish that workout. My energy drains and it's not good. And that's kind of the same thing with my craft. If I'm excited to do something for someone and then they fall short on their end, it feels bittersweet to force some craft that I love to do something that now has a negative taste to it. I love what I do. I don't want it to be work.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's kind of like the love of reading with some students, but when they make it work, it's no longer fun.
Yeah.
I don't like that with my craft. I would love to make money by doing my craft, but I don't like it when it turns into work.
Yes. I get that.
It makes it negative, and that's more on me. I have to be in a good mindset that life happened.
Right.
That wasn't her fault, and I have to move on. So, any suggestions you have for me, maybe just some encouraging words, I'd appreciate it. I understand if maybe I just have to walk myself through it. I appreciate you. You're going to show your thing off, and then I get to show off some acquisitions.
Yes.
She finished it. Look at her pumping out things like a machine.
Yeah.
Seriously.
The blue scrappy blanket is complete. And I finished it last night.
How?
And I just work on it.
How?
Every night when my husband's watching TV, I am working on this.
Like, I know how, but how?
Yeah.
Seriously, like, everyone kept being like, how did you get all those gifts done when you have 2 kids? And they're so young. And I'm just like, I was focusing on it. I used all my free time on it. But when I see something so big, like mine was small in detail, but this thing is like...
This is a twin size bed blanket.
This thing is thick, too! Like... Holy crap.
It's blue with another color all the way through.
Yeah, so there are different shades of blue all the way down, but she was pairing it with another strand of 4-ply yarn, so it's kind of the equivalent of a chunky 8-ply yarn.
And I love the purple.
And just, yeah, look at that. It's just, and it's spongy because it's so thick.
And then we've got the other side.
Oh my god, this thing's so
it just
cool.
keeps going. And just
so the main theme of this blanket is blue because like I said, like she said, the consistent color in it is blue in just multiple shades.
Yes.
And she's pairing it with another color to make it thick.
But not red. Red is his
brother's.
Yes. So Nicholas loves blue. And I wanted to make sure that he got blue all the way through. So every time I would end a blue, I would start another blue on that line.
And you ended
a color, I would put another color on that line.
As long as it was not blue.
Yeah,
not red. Red.
Because I wanted red for his brother, Noah. And so, but I think the orange...
Looks so cool.
The orange came out really good. I love the purples,
And the
the
teal.
teal, the greens, the yellows. I tried to find colors that went with blue.
And she did a half double crochet.
Yes.
So this thing is super, like, look at the separation from my hands. Like, this thing is thick.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. This thing is going to be so good.
Right.
I'm so excited for them to have
they're
it.
they're gonna get them for Christmas, and the whole thing is that they're getting bunk beds when mom and dad get their tax money, so I get to contribute, and my husband thinks I'm crazy, my daughter thinks I'm crazy, but as soon as I finished this and got the ends weaved in, hey, only 4 ends. It was 2 for the beginning and 2 for the end, because you got 2 strands going all the way through. I got to do, maybe this much,
And weave it in.
4 strands, and that was it.
My mom
And
doesn't
I was
like
just
weaving
like,
in.
yes.
No, she's good.
So as soon as I got that done, I went and got my red. I had a box with all my red yarns in it, and yarns that would go with that. And I started the red one.
Is so cool.
So, yep,
It looks so.
And-
It just screams festive.
yeah.
Like,
So I just love it.
I love it. I love it.
And I'll tell you, by the time you get done with turning that thing every 105 stitches, because it was 105 cast on it, 104 stitches, you're turning it every 15 minutes or so, 10 minutes, whatever it took me to get across that line, and it's getting heavier and heavier and heavier to turn this thing. This is so much easier. You're just starting. You can turn it, you can flip it, you can do all this stuff. It's so easy. Oh my gosh. But by the time you get down to the end of these blankets, it's heavy, and you're glad to have it on you because it's so darn cold here. But I'll tell you, starting a whole new one is a joy. And the next one for Braxton, he loves red also, but I'm not going to limit myself. I don't care what color goes with red. I don't care. I shouldn't say that. Red does not have to be tied on to red. I will tie on a purple. I will tie on a red or an orange or a green. And I'll put another color all the way through it.
Have so many
I'm going to just have fun with Braxton's. Not that I'm not having fun with these. I am. But I won't have to limit the palette. It will truly be a scrappy blanket.
So the blankets right here, the one for the red with the one for the blue, are for brothers. So she's trying to make an obvious effort to make them separated.
Yes.
There's nothing
so they'll know each other's blankets. They will know the red one. They will know the blue one.
Yeah.
But with Braxton, he's an only
child, so she doesn't have to worry about what colors she's incorporating in, as long as they're ones that he likes.
Yes.
Because it's just going to be him, so there's no comparison.
And it's truly going to be just a scrappy, whatever I pick up is going to be fine. And I don't have to worry about, okay, this one is dark and that one is light. And does it go together and all this kind of stuff. I won't even have to think about that anymore. It'll just be all the way through, just going, having fun with it. And then I'll be done with those blankets. I'm hoping to be done by the end of March. And I'll have all my Christmas gifts for the grandchildren done. And I can just do the rest of what I want to do for... I do want to do a chevron. I've never done one before. I would like to just continue on, maybe try to figure out how to make a sweater, cardigan or whatever, something wearable. And I have goals, but my first and foremost is to get the grandchildren's Christmas presents done. I know it's early in the year, but when you're making things, you have to set aside time.
Yeah, don't do what I did.
Yeah, don't wait till the last month to get 3 major projects done.
I honestly didn't even think about it until then. I mean, the whole move and everything had consumed my time.
Yeah.
That I just didn't even think. And I had just been re-inspired to go back into my crafting when I was spending that month with you.
Yeah.
So it genuinely was like a aha moment of, oh, wait a minute, I've been doing my crafts again. I could actually make something for them. So this year will be a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'll have some more time because I have a space to do it. I'm more set aside to do it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. This is so cool to me. I think that's amazing. My husband.
Generous.
So I hope you all had a really good Valentine's Day. My husband, he's been on constant call for the last 2 weeks, and then the week before it was nothing but overtime. So we hadn't seen him in 3 weeks. This last weekend, he just finally got off of overtime and had been told that his position for his job had changed, and that he was no longer in the shipping department, and that all he had to do was organize, and he's a material handler for used airplane parts. So it is a job where it's almost like if you go to a used auto body shop or a used auto parts store, and they have like that whole entire junk pile in the back of old cars that they strip the good parts from.
Yeah.
They do that also with aircrafts.
Wow.
And my husband sells the good used airplane parts.
That's awesome.
So works for an used airplane parts company. Well, he normally is in the shipping and handling. That's part of what his on-call after-hours work is.
Yeah.
And so when he gets a call saying that a place needs a part for a plane so that they can redo their, get the plane going, or it needs it to fly, or they just need it because they're working on it, or they know it's going to take time to get to them because they ship it everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
After his hours, they provide after-hour services, which is him going in. It would be him or someone there going and wrapping and shipping that product off to them.
Right.
And that happens at any time of the night and day.
Yeah. Airplanes are
right
needed.
Well, recently his job position changed to now he's organizing the warehouse.
Wow.
And he is the main person organizing and refiling everything into the computer system, and that could really open a lot of doors for him to maybe once he fully organizes the rest of the warehouse, if he gets really good at it. Now, he's been showing promise in this position for a very long time, and they finally gave it to him.
That's awesome.
And the person that his favorite boss is now the only boss he ever has to look up to. Now he does not have to apply to any go to any other boss.
That is so cool.
Because he's been having some issues with that. But the thing is that the real possibilities to this job is that to this position, depending on how good he gets to it and how good he creates a better algorithm for the computers for how to file everything, he might be sent to other ship housing or locations and be on paid leave to go and do that. And they have warehouses several places in the world.
Oh.
So it's a possibility. There's no promise that I'd get that big, but it's kind of cool. This is a position of the job that suits him the most, and he's been at this job since right before Olivia was born, and this has finally fit him the best. He's been working really hard hours, like I said, a lot of overtime, a lot of on-call, and he finally got some good news. So he's coming home with me with those good news on Friday, and he's really excited. It's the first weekend we've been able to see him without having any sort of worry that he's
gonna be
called to have someone take him away from us because they need him. And because of all this time, we had not planned anything for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that worried about it. Like, it wasn't like a set expectation holding over his head being like, well, you didn't do anything for me for Valentine's. It was more like, even if all we do is spend family time together watching a movie, it'd just be nice to just be able to have you. So
Yeah.
it's no big deal. Our church was doing this fundraiser where they're doing this conference for the teenagers, and the teenagers were raising money. And they offered to babysit kids for parents for a donation of money through a certain time in the Valentine's Day, so that you could have someone watch your kids while you actually went on a date. We assumed that they were booked out. They had 5 positions open, and we were able to snatch 2 of the positions.
Wow.
So on Valentine's Day, we were able to go and spend some time together. While we were doing that, my husband ends up telling me, so Ollie's, I don't know if Ollie's is a main chain outlet store or not anywhere else, but Ollie's is kind of like a TJ Maxx, it's where it's kind of like a Burlington TJ Maxx sort of a store where things that didn't sell when they were in season go there, and they are still good products. There's nothing wrong with them,
Right.
but they're being resold at a lower price, but they're not used, so they're not at a Goodwill price.
Right.
If that makes sense?
Right.
Ollie's is the same thing, but Ollie's is a little bit more, they have everything. They're not just set towards beauty products. They're not set for clothes. They are literally across the board.
Yeah.
Books,
They have
yarn,
lots of things.
vacuums, carpets, anything that just didn't sell in the main store it was meant to goes to them.
Yeah.
And they have warehouses full of this stuff, and they had yarn. Full price, Red Heart yarn, $2 a skein.
Woo-hoo.
And my husband took me there first for our Valentine's Day
Oh.
because he knew about the yarn.
See, he's so generous.
And there was a lot of this sparkly yarn.
Oh my gosh, it's so pretty.
So this yarn has like some, I don't know if we're going to be able to get the sparkle. Oh, there you go. Some of the sparkle in it.
What color is that?
This is Comet.
Oh.
It's a maroon with maroon sparkles in it. It's a shimmer. It's a Red Heart yarn. It's called Hug.
How's it? Huga.
Huga Charm yarn. Red Heart yarn.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that. I had 2 of those. We'll put this over here, I
Yeah.
think.
So pretty.
And then they had like this.
Look at that.
And it's a very dark gray. It says it's a charcoal gray, Red Heart, with love yarn with a silver, almost like tinsel, metallic tinsel.
So pretty.
And then I got, a lot of my yarn is like that, so be prepared. I got 2 of those.
See, now last week when we were showing you the pink blanket, this was kind of like that, the silver tinsel going
Yeah.
through it, but it was
Yeah.
white. So you couldn't hardly see the sparkle, but you can when you're looking at the blanket.
So this one kind of reminds me of Christmas because of the iridescent glitter,
Isn't that
glitter in
pretty?
it. But this is the same with Love metallic yarn. This is called white because it is a white yarn, but it has iridescent glitters in it, kind of
Like an opal.
It's like an opal, so it has the teals and the pinks and it shifts to like almost purple. It is almost a I know this is gonna be weird, but they call this unicorn skin in the nail community. It's that sort of an iridescent shimmer.
Yeah.
And it's really, really pretty. So they have that tinsel wrapped around the white, and I got 2 of those. This one I really loved. I don't know why, but I thought that was just insane. This one is called Moonlight, or Clair de Lune.
Oh, look at that.
I know, it's awesome. It's a Red Heart again, Huga, is it?
Huga.
Huga charm. And it's really a taupe, like a cream yarn, but it has that iridescent, I'm not sure if you're going to catch it. Oh, there it is. There's some of them at the bottom. It's that teal purple popping out of this color just caught my eye. I'm thinking like a
One of the shawls?
like a shawl neck scarf idea with
Yeah.
this. Like as a
So
it
soft.
just is so nice. It's very soft yarn. Got 2 of those. And it just keeps going. I can't. I just couldn't stop picking yarn.
Oh, that's beautiful.
This is a navy. It's called Royal. It's a very nice navy, and of course this metallic really shines out. It's the same, about the same color, navy color and metallic woven around. You can see the shimmer. 2 of those.
So squishy. I love it.
I have this one. Again, it's with Love Red Heart. It's an olive color green with this. This has a gold thread of metallic in it. It's very, very pretty. It's a little darker and a little bit more richer of a tone than it's actually picking up on the camera, but it's very pretty yarn.
Yeah.
So I got 2 of those. And then I got With Love Red Heart yarn. This is No Dye Lot. It's a black, but it says no. I wonder what that means. I'm not sure. It's obviously black yarn. It's very spongy, very, very well packed. So it's like this, when they wound it very nice and taut, but it's still very squishy. And I always pick up black when I can. I got 2 of those. My last 2, the godparents of my children have 3 children of their own, about, I want to say 10, 8, and like 5, 6. That's the youngest. Excuse me. And their middle child, the 7, 8-year-old, is a girl named Hannah. Now for Christmas, her mother, the godmother of my children, her name is Amy. She was asking me ideas to get the girls, and especially Hannah, and I said, why don't you get her a crafting set of some sort to see if she likes it? And she's like, that's perfect. I'm going to get her a loom set, and I want you to teach her how to do it because I will have no patience. So the other day when I came over, Hannah brought over everything, and I started teaching her how to make something with the loom, and she's really, really excited about it, and she's really getting good at it. And so these next 2 colors are actually for her.
Oh my gosh.
So these are the Red Heart with Love metallic yarns, but this is a really nice fuchsia. It's a really bright pink. It's not picking up. It's kind of the light's almost saturated off of this. It's a lot richer than this is showing, but it has a dark pink metallic strand woven in it, and it's called Fuchsia.
Yep.
And then the green that we got for her is called Lime. I like my hair. And it has a gold, like a greenish gold strand in it, and it's not really showing, but there is a strand in it as well. And so these 2 are going to go to my sweet, sweet, small little friend. And I hope this inspires her for more ideas.
Yeah.
You know, you have to make it fun. Once it becomes fun, you got them hooked.
Pretty
And
much.
I
Yep.
want to continue making it fun, because when you're learning, it's still work, and it take time before it becomes fun.
But if they got some nice
Something
yarns
that they want to make something with, then the work is not as hard to get through and be motivated to do.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm sorry I packed all this yarn on you.
That's okay.
Did you like it?
I love it. It's all squishy and nice, and
and the original prices for these were not cheap. Like, it was really cool to go to a secondhand store where you can get yarn that you know is not, like, you can get good yarn from Goodwill. My mom is about to show you that one of her acquisitions is really, really cool. You can get good yarn from secondhand stores, but when you can get it from an outlet store that's selling stuff that did not sell at the original store, you're getting brand new yarn, always brand new yarn, and it's just so cool. This amount of yarn would have probably cost me around $100 at an actual store, if not more. But this only cost me about $40, all that yarn. And so I'm really happy. And it was really, really just a nice treat for my husband to be like, no, you have to buy something. Like, this is too good of yarn not to buy something.
My situation was, I walked into a Goodwill store, and I had walked into this particular one before and gotten all kinds of yarn, and you never know what you're gonna get. But it's all usable, especially for this scrappy blanket stuff. You can use any 4-ply, any color, and it's gonna look good.
Yep.
And so I don't mind that. Well, this time I walked in and I looked down on the bottom shelf and I grabbed a mesh bag, and the mesh bag was full of yarn. And I looked at the price and I could not believe it. Now, I'm going to show you via my phone, because I did not bring it with me, the bag of yarn. It's Lassie Manetta. It's an Italian yarn, and there's also Lassie Pia. Pia is the smaller
miniature.
The miniature balls, and the Manitas were the bigger ones. I had, when all was said and done, when I got home, I counted, and I had 24 balls altogether. 8 of the miniature, the minis, and 16 of the larger ones, all in this bag for $6. I was floored. I'm going to show you that the price tag on that, if it will focus, was $6 for all that yarn. 24 skeins of unused yarn. On top of that, I went and I looked it up, what kind of yarn this was, it was 75% wool, 25% polyamide, which I'm thinking is more like polyester. I'm not sure. And it's worsted weight, and it's European. It's a Euro dollars. So altogether, I figured out what it would be from their website, and it came up to almost $101 that I was getting for $6. And I was happy. And I'm thinking somebody bought it for a sweater or whatever. They were buying a whole lot of it. But there was 2 whites, 2 golds, 3 light grays, 8 medium grays, 3 medium grays, 4 dark grays, and 2 blacks.
It sounds like something like they were planning on some sort of project.
Yeah.
That's really, really specific colors.
So, I just thought that was such a great deal, and I was able to get it and bring it home. I'll be able to figure out a project for it when I'm done with all these scrappy blankets, and I could not believe that I got that whole deal for $6.
That's insane.
And I mean, I love Sarah's yarn, and I love that they got such a great deal as well. I mean, if you're going to do a project such as we're doing with our yarn, it's nice to get great deals.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with going and splurging if you have it on a Michael's or a Joann's.
Or a local yarn shop. I was able yesterday to go to Nuevo, which is quite a way, not too terribly far, but enough of a ways where my husband and I made a trip of it. And we went to a local yarn shop there, which is called the New U, EWE. And it's part quilting shop, part yarn shop. And it's got yarn in there from local dyers and all this kind of stuff. They have dyed yarn from all over. And the skeins in there were gorgeous. But some of the skeins were like $27 just for one. And
well worth it if you have the money.
Totally worth it if you've got that kind of cash laying around. I just don't. And
someday.
But I was able to pick up 2 hooks that Sarah and I lacked in our hooks.
So cool.
We did not have a C hook. And so I was able to find and purchase 2 C hooks from the New U in Nuevo, and they were only $2.50 a piece. And I thought that was a really good deal for
brand new
Susan Bates C hooks. And
they're aluminum.
Yeah, for aluminum hooks. And I just thought that was really a good deal. And so I've been just on the hunt for them, and now I'm able to say that we have them. So we have I have from a B hook all the way up to an L now. Now I'm looking for an M, N, and P, and I think that's going to be good for me. I'll have everything that I need for each pattern.
Are they an A? Is there
I've never seen an A. And I know they don't have O, because I think that gets mixed up with 0.
Oh, probably. That makes sense.
But if I could get an M, N, and P, then I think that I would have a complete set of what I'm calling...
What you're going to use.
What I would use, yes. Anything bigger than that is just too much for my wrist anyway. So...
Is that Kaniel?
I think so. Well, the baby's awake. So...
You want me to go grab him?
Yeah, we could do that. I could talk about the scripture.
Okay, I'll be right back with him.
So today's scripture I found in my Bible study yesterday, and I just thought it fit what we're talking about. That their hearts may be encouraged, having been knit together in love. Colossians 2:2. We're talking about knitting and crocheting. And when I saw that yesterday, it was just like, oh, I'm going to write that down and I'm going to talk about that. That their hearts may be encouraged, having been knit together in love. That's what we're trying to do here on this channel, is we're trying to encourage each and every one of you to find that craft, find a yarny craft if you're so inclined, find a craft that helps you in this journey of life, that will help you during this pandemic to get your mind off things and to get yourself crafting, get yourself creating in ways that you that you can feel like you're accomplishing something, and that their hearts may be encouraged, having been knit together in love. When you're knitting something, all those fibers are going together, and they're stronger than when they were apart. When you knit something together, it's a fabric that is not easily broken. And when you have hearts that are knit together in love, nothing's gonna separate that. When God's doing the knitting and He's doing it in love, you are not going to be separated from His love or from anybody else's. And the other part of this Bible study that I found was begin to know Him now and finish never. I just thought that was so brilliant. Begin to know Him, Jesus, now, and finish never. Never finish knowing God. We're never going to know Him fully until we get to heaven, but we have a lifetime to learn Him and to know Him, and never finish learning about Him. And it's all good when you have God in your life and He's got you in His. I don't know if you've got a verse at all this week or not, but
I've been looking at the Bible in several different ways recently. A lot of my Bible studies make you think about what the situation that these people that are reading recorded in the Bible would have felt real time. We as people that read the Bible always see the completed work, the full picture, and we are always just like, well, they obviously just are crazy to have acted so impulsively or to act this way when obviously it's right there. But when we're reading a sentence that says it took 2 years or it took 40 years or it took this amount of time, could you imagine having to wait that long to receive what you're asking for? Or to fulfill what the lesson that you're trying to learn. There's something to having to learn that our free will is something that is free for us to have and something God gives us in love. But we also have, but God is also fully sovereign and fully in control. And there's something to the fact that He has an ultimate end to what He wants for us. And if we say that that's what if we ask Him to take control of our lives, then we, regardless of whether we are letting Him be Lord of our lives, we have agreed to having Him be in control, and therefore regardless if we do it His way or our way, we're almost inevitably still going to reach that end goal that He's asking us to reach. And sometimes that means that even though it was reached more by a man's hands than God's hands, which meant that it was more messy, we're still completing a goal. We're still completing God's plan. It's just if we had just listened to Him the first time, it would have been
a lot faster.
And
And
we're learning. We as a society is learning, but sometimes we have to take a minute that when we're reading the Bible, think of it in real time. Even with Jesus, imagine being someone that was watching Jesus's miracles.
Oh my gosh, I would love to see that.
And having to the whole idea of when they were trying to when Lazarus was sick and they called him saying, hey, he's sick, and then he waited, and then when they got the news that he died, and they're just like, why didn't you go? Now they're thinking, wait a minute, we've seen Him raise children from the dead, we've seen Him raise a woman from the dead, maybe He can't do man, maybe He can't do that, maybe He got stage fright because it was his friends. There's so many different things that
scenarios.
As a human we don't understand that He was trying to complete His perfect work by making us realize that, yes, He can raise people from the dead, He can take away illness, He can do this, but nothing is out of His control. There's nothing that has gone too far that He can't pull us out of. And sometimes we think that something that is full of death in a scenario, a relationship that's full of nothing but corruption, scenarios, it's just reaping nothing but a bad end, and we think that there's just no hope. God can take a hopeless situation and make it better. There's so many times in the Bible that we see people so sick, born that way, not given no choice. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't this. That's just what happened to them. And people who even got sick later on and just didn't get the courtesy of knowing what else to do, and they were relieved of that burden. But sometimes the burdens go so far that there's no point of no return, and yet there is nothing that is too far away from God that he can get us out of. Our will,
There's nothing impossible for God.
yes, and there's just this aspect of we have free will. He is all sovereign. He's always in control, and it's a matter of when we relinquish that control, that no matter whether it be by man's hands or God's hands, his plan will come to completion. And it looks like we have something happening in my neighborhood. Well, I just want you to know that no matter what you're going through, even if you don't understand, even if you're giving it over to God and you just don't see its completed work, or you know that something's supposed to happen and it hasn't, or you just can't see what God's trying to pull but you know it's going to happen, take courage. Know that if you're giving it to God, he is not going to use or put you through something that does not have a point.
Yeah.
Nothing is pointless with God. With the devil, there are a lot of things that he does for no other reason than to just make you stumble. They're pointless. He just did it because he could.
Right.
Whereas with God, there's nothing that he does that doesn't have a purpose.
Right.
Take courage. Sometimes what you're going through has a reason.
Yes.
Even if it feels like that should have not have happened. It felt pointless. Why did that have to happen? Why did the car not have to start today?
And
why did something have to happen? And you don't know.
In the scheme of things, it all worked out for good.
Yes.
You don't know that your car didn't start this morning just so that you avoided an accident.
Yeah, it's all about perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, I'm not sure if any of you have go to a church, but like with me, I'm the head of one of the departments at our church. And sometimes when I'm trying to get people interested in helping with a conference, and they're just like, I feel like I'm not getting enough of the conference, I do try to compensate for that, because obviously you don't want to put so much on one person. But there's this attitude. By letting God use you, you're allowing other people to be ministered to you. And by trusting that God's going to give you the time under the conference, or the time that you're able to be ministered to, is the time that he is going to give you what you need in that
Right.
moment. He's going to provide what you need.
Right.
That as long as you're doing what he's asking you to do, he's still going to come through and give you what you ultimately need in that time.
That's exactly it.
And sometimes we just have to be obedient to do what he's asking us to do, knowing that even though we're asked to be selfless in that time, he is going to work to give us exactly what we need. And my son is about to bring his 1-year-old birthday balloons into the room. He wants to show them all to us. Okay. I know this has got a little random. My son woke up a little early from his nap. We appreciate your time spent with us. I hope that you received and were ministered to, and we are able to have some fun talks together. We appreciate our time with you. We love you all, and we'd like to remind you to stitch your way
To mental health.